Madam Speaker, last Friday, more than 1,000 teachers came to the Manitoba legislature to protest against the awful behavior of the Pallister government. The Pallister government has promised to improve teaching and learning and education in Manitoba. I ask the Premier, how will he improve learning when he has started a war with teachers who are central to improving education and learning for our children?
Good point. The Honourable First Minister.
As a former teacher and as someone who worked very diligently for a brief time, Madam Speaker, within the Manitoba Teachers Society, I would encourage the member for River Heights to understand that the views, as they may be loudly expressed by senior people within my old union, are not necessarily unanimously supported by members of the teaching profession. And so I would encourage the member not to over-dramatize the reality of a protest. He's seen some. I remember when he cut healthcare funding in this province and across the country. He saw some then. And I think, Madam Speaker, we need to understand that the goal here is to improve our education system for the future. And I believe that teachers want to be involved in making sure that happens.
Here.
The Honourable Member for River Heights on a supplementary question.
Madam Speaker, a good way to improve overall student learning, if the Premier wants, is helping those who are struggling, including Indigenous learners and including students with learning disabilities, speech, hearing, and vision issues in children. Yet the government has not presented a credible plan to help those who are struggling and having difficulty, and has not even committed to develop an accessible education standard under the Accessibility for Manitobans Act. Why has the government not presented a plan to address and help learners who are struggling?
The Honourable First Minister.
I can share with the member that in my few years of teaching, some of the most rewarding experiences I had personally were working with the children he describes in his preamble and assisting them in upgrading their reading skills and learning skills. And I know that teachers across the province who have so engaged would share that same view with him. It is a view that I think all members of this House share, that we want to upgrade the skills of young people, in particular those who are challenged in their ability to read, and their cognitive skill development is very, very critical. So we continue to advance the cause of sustainable education system in our province with a focus on making sure that we can help every child find the real potential that exists within inside them.
Here.
The Honourable Member for River Heights on a final supplementary.
And yet the Premier has not even committed yet to implement the education standard under the Accessibility for Manitobans Act. Madam Speaker, as we learned at a forum I held recently on primary and secondary education, we need improved support for teachers. We need to be quicker at taking effective innovations province-wide, like the Roots of Empathy, Kids at Play, and effective alternative learning approaches as have been used in the Seine River School Division. Approaches using music and art to promote learning and support for Manitoba's strengths in French language education. Why has this government, which has promised so much, done so little?
Good question.
The Honourable First Minister.
Well, not accepting at all the premise, the preamble the member offers, Madam Speaker, because he does so without analysis or without the ability to support with fact. I would only say that we are investing close to $500 million more in education this year alone than was the case ever under the previous government. And so if the member has suggestions on reallocation of the funds we are investing, he should first recognize quite accurately that contribution and that willingness to direct the resources that Manitobans entrust to us as a government towards education as a top priority.
Here.